Okay, I've learned something today that I'm going to share with you. I did not understand that 30% of people with Crohn's that have joint pain, it's actually your Crohn's causing it. And that's what we're going to talk about today in this video. So if your knees, hips, or lower back hurt almost as much as your gut does, well, you're not imagining it, and you're definitely unknown. 30% of people with Crohn's deal with joint pain, but here's what almost no one tells you. The same inflammation attacking your intestines is attacking your joints, and the usual pain relievers, well, they can actually make your Crohn's worse. Hi, I'm Kate, and today we're talking about Crohn's-related joint pain, why it happens, and what actually helps you when you can't just reach for ibuprofen. And this matters because you shouldn't have to choose between managing your gut and being able to walk without pain. My son was 15 when his knees started hurting. Not just sore after footy, but actually painful. Stiff in the morning, achy at night. Of course, we thought it was growing pains. Then his Crohn's fled, and suddenly it made sense. His rheumatologist explained what was happening. The same inflammatory chemicals causing havoc in his intestines were traveling through his bloodstream and landing in his joints. Like, awesome. Just another great thing that Crohn's does to you as well. Yeah, it's the cruel bit. When you're in pain as well, your first instinct is to take something for it. But ibuprofen, well, they're known gut irritants. They can trigger flares, increase intestinal permeability, even cause bleeding. So you're stuck. Your joints hurt, but the standard solution is off the table for you. I see this all the time in my practice. People limp into appointments frustrated because their GI said no ibuprofen, but didn't tell them what they could do. So I'm here to fix that for you today. Okay, here's what most people don't understand. Crohn's-related joint pain isn't just a side effect or bad luck. It's a specific type of inflammatory arthritis called enteropathic arthritis. Entero means intestine. Pathic means disease. It's literally joint inflammation caused by intestinal disease. Lucky, right? So here's what's happening. When your intestinal lining is inflamed and compromised, inflammatory molecules leak into your bloodstream. These aren't just floating around randomly, they're actively signaling your immune system, and your joints have receptors for these signals. So your knees, your hips, your spine, they respond to the same inflammatory cascade that's attacking your gut. This is why some people notice their joints hurt before a flare. The inflammation is systemic. It's already traveling. But what's the good news? Well, if you address the root inflammation, you can help both your gut and your joints. It's not about masking pain. It's about working with your body's inflammatory pathways in ways that don't sabotage your intestine. And there's actually quite a bit that you can do. So let me walk you through the practical toolkit, 5 strategies that work with your Crohn's, not against it. Okay, to begin, you need to do specific movement protocols. I know, when your joints hurt, moving is the last thing you want to do. But here's the thing. Gentle, regular movements actually reduce joint inflammation by increasing circulation and reducing stiffness. But the key word is gentle. I'm not asking you to go for a run. What helps is swimming, water walking, or even just moving in a warm bath. The water supports your joints while you move them through their range of motion. Yoga, but restorative or gentle flow, not power yoga. Walking on flat surfaces, not hills, 15 to 20 minutes most days, so it's not a lot. So what should you avoid? Well, high impact anything, which is pretty lucky really. Running, jumping, heavy weights when you're inflamed. You're not being weak, you're actually being strategic. My son found that swimming 3 times a week made a massive difference to his knee pain. Not immediately, it took about 3 weeks. But then the morning stiffness started easing. He could get out of bed without wincing. So omega-3 dosing that actually works is the second thing you can do. So omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA from fish oil, well, they're anti-inflammatory. But here's where most people get it wrong. The dose matters enormously. So the research on inflammatory conditions shows you need at least 2 grams of EPA plus DHA combined per day to see anti-inflammatory effects. Most fish oil capsules contain maybe 300 milligrams, so you need 6 or 7 capsules to hit a therapeutic dose. Most people take 1 or 2 and wonder why nothing changes. What I recommend is to find a high-quality fish oil that lists the EPA and DHA amounts clearly on the label. Add up those two numbers, you want them to total at least 2,000 milligrams. Take it with food to avoid any fishy burps, and give it 6 to 8 weeks. It's not a painkiller, it's shifting your inflammatory balance over time, so it's not going to be a quick fix. If you can't tolerate fish oil, algae-based omega-3s are an option, though they're typically lower in EPA. So work with your naturopath or dietitian to find what works for your gut. The third thing you can do is curcumin, so timing and absorption. So curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has solid evidence for reducing joint inflammation, but here's the catch. Curcumin on its own is very poorly absorbed. Your body just doesn't take it up well. So you need a formulation that's designed for absorption. Look for curcumin with black pepper extract, which increases absorption by up to 2,000%. These aren't marketing gimmicks, they're addressing a real bioavailability problem. So dosing is typically 500 to 1,000 milligrams of a well-absorbed curcumin once or twice daily with food, and timing matters. Take it consistently, not just when you're sore. So every day. You're building anti-inflammatory momentum. There's just a little bit to be cautious about. So curcumin can be a mild blood thinner. So if you're on anticoagulants or about to have surgery, talk to your doctor first. And some people with a very sensitive gut find it irritating. So start low and see how you go. So heat and cold strategies is our fourth thing we can do. This is an old school physio, but it works. You just need to know when to use which. And I've often kind of thought about this myself. Okay, heat and ice both work, but I get confused about when. So cold, ice packs or cold gel packs. They reduce acute inflammation. If a joint is hot, swollen and red, that's when you ice it. 15 to 20 minutes at a time with a thin towel between the ice and your skin. This is for flare-ups, for angry joints. So think angry, hot, ice. Heat, warm packs, heat pads, warm baths. They reduce stiffness and improve circulation. This is for chronic achiness, so stiffness, that deep soreness. Heat relaxes tight muscles around sore joints and brings blood flow to the area. My son used heat in the morning, 10 minutes with a heat pack on his knees before school, and it made getting moving so much easier. Then if he overdid it and his knee swelled up, he'd ice them that night. You can also alternate contrast therapy. 3 minutes warm, 1 minute cold. Repeat 3 times. This pumps circulation in and out of the joint. Some people swear by it. So it's kind of like magnesium, warm bath, cold plunge. Same idea. So when to talk to your GI about targeted biologics, that's a fifth strategy we can talk about. Here's something really important. If your joint pain is significantly impacting your life, if you're limping, if you're avoiding activities you love, if it's waking you up at night, well then tell your gastroenterologist. Why do you ask? Well, because some of the biologic medications used for Crohn's, particularly the anti-TNF drugs like infliximab, are also used to treat inflammatory arthritis. They address the same inflammatory pathway that's causing both your gut and joint symptoms. I'm not saying rush to medication, but I am saying that if you're already on a biologic for your Crohn's and still having significant joint pain, it might be worth discussing whether a different biologic or a higher dose could help both issues. And if you're not on a biologic but your joint pain is severe, well, it's worth a conversation with your GI. My son's rheumatologist and GI worked together on this. They chose a biologic that would target both his gut inflammation and his joint inflammation. It wasn't instant, but over 3 months, both improved significantly. This is about treating the root inflammation systemically not just chasing symptoms in different body parts. So, let's come back to where we started. You're dealing with joint pain on top of your Crohn's. I know, lucky right. And the usual pain relievers, well, they're off the table. So what I want you to hear is this. You're not stuck. There's a path forward that doesn't involve choosing between your gut and your joints. It takes a bit more thought than just popping an ibuprofen. You're looking at movement, omega-3s, curcumin, heat and cold, and possibly having a conversation with your doctor about medications that address both issues. It's a toolkit, not a single fix. But when you address the underlying inflammation, when you work with your body's inflammatory pathways, instead of just trying to numb them, you can get real lasting relief, which is what we want. My son did. Many of my clients have. And I've seen people go from barely being able to walk to back playing sport, back gardening, back living their best life. It's possible. It just takes the right approach. So, if this helped you understand what's actually happening with your joints and it gave you some practical next steps, share it with someone else who's dealing with it because they'll thank you for it. And if you want more support putting this kind of plan together, tailored to your Crohn's, your joints, your life, that's exactly what I do in my coaching practice and in the Crohn's Method community. I'll see you in the next video and have a beautiful day.